we've got one of the great treasures of the library of the Jewish Theological Seminary, a manuscript produced in Esslingen, Germany in the year 1290. It is a high holiday prayer book, which is really quite extraordinary. You can see its size. It was actually originally even larger than this. It's of great weight, and it is artistically quite magnificent. This would have been at the center of the experience of Jews in medieval Germany when they went to synagogue on the high holidays. In the manuscript age, most people didn't have books. And so in a case like this, there would have been a wealthy merchant in town who sponsored the production of the manuscript, kept it in his house during the year, and for the holidays dragged it along with the help of his neighbors so that it would be used at the center of the synagogue by the chazan, by the representative of the congregation in prayer. The synagogue would have been small, so everyone would have stood around or sat, and a page like this they would have seen very, very clearly. Even in the absence of prayer books then, they could see what was being chanted, and the manuscript would communicate to them in very powerful ways. If you look at this page, it's not simply the beauty, but the fact that the scribe has emphasized in very large letters the word melech. Melech means king, and here the scribe is teaching all gathered in the synagogue that on Rosh Hashanah, God is enthroned as king in order to judge the world. Now, obviously, when the printing press was invented and people came to have prayer books that they could all have on their laps, read each individual by himself, things changed very much. What this meant was that if you had an individual prayer, if you had an individual pace, you could follow your own lead. Not everyone did it together. But even with the gain, I think it's fair to say that something significant was lost. First of all, you won't find a single printed machzor, a single printed high holiday prayer book with anything nearly as beautiful as the page we have in front of us. So the first thing that was lost was simply beauty, that we no longer retain in our prayer books. The second thing is that when this was the center of the prayer, the community relied on their representative. The community, in other words, was formed as a unit. Today we can each be individuals in the synagogue. We're far more at our own pace. At this time there was something drawing the community together, and that was the prayer book itself. The third thing, though, that we've lost is the possibility of a scribe in this case, or an artist in other cases, to actually serve as teacher. Even if you didn't understand the prayers well, and the high holiday prayers were then as now very, very difficult. And so most members of the community didn't understand them word for word. Nevertheless, if you could be either in the congregation or even in the balcony looking down at this page and see the word melech, you needed only one word to understand what was going on. Melech, king, and you knew that you with the congregation were standing before the king of the whole world in judgment, evaluating what you had done the year before and anticipating how you would do tshuva, how you would repent, in order that when you stood before the king of the world a year from now, you could say that you had changed some of the things that this year you had gotten wrong.